All right, hi, my name's Ron Connelly. I'm the campus supervisor and behavioral support person for Creswell Middle School. I think in total, I worked at the elementary school for 8 or 9 years. I was just an EA over there, and originally I was asked to come in and teach sports at lunchtime. And I did that for a week, and then I was asked to start working, and before I knew it, I was working full time. I've worked for the bus barn also, helping with children that needed support while being bused and taken to different schools. So I did that for, I think, 8, 9 years, left for a couple of years, and then when I came back, I came to the middle school, and I was a one-on-one EA for a couple of years, and then the campus supervisor that was here left, and I applied for the position and ended up getting it. Both of my children went through school here. They're grown now. And when my son was in kindergarten was when I started working at the elementary school. And I coached 14 years. I coached basketball and football and would do 3 to 4 teams of basketball every year and then 1 team of football every year. So I've known the kids in the community and worked in the community for a very long time. I didn't even know a person that didn't have a teaching degree could work at a school and never even really thought about it. And Mrs. Robertson, who used to be our principal at the elementary school, asked me to volunteer, and I did that for a little while, and then before I knew it, like I said, I was working full time, and a really good opportunity for another job came up, and I really didn't want to leave the school district, but I took it. And when that died out, I decided I really wanted to come back and work with kids again, because I've always felt like I was a big kid. For me, working in the school district for as long as I have, I really believe that just having a good heart towards children and truly caring about the kids makes all the difference in the world. I'm not somebody that has a teaching degree. I only did a year of college. So for those kids that want to be a part of working in a school district but maybe aren't the type that wants to go on and do 4 years of college, they could still come to the school district, have an excellent job, and work with kids and change people's lives every day. So it's very multifaceted, my job. Like most people wouldn't know that I clean the cafeteria tables 4 times every day. You know, there's certain jobs that I do that may not seem like campus supervisor jobs, but I enjoy every job. And like I've told our principal, you can ask me to do anything. I'm not going to say no. I'm here for a certain amount of time during the day. If you need me to do something, I'll do whatever you ask me to do. And so a lot of people look at me as the person that does all the discipline in the school, and that is part of my job. But I was that kid that was in trouble all the time growing up. All the time. I couldn't even tell you how many times I've been in a principal's office when I was a child. So when I have a student come to me, I'm not upset by it. I understand that there's a lot of things going on in people's lives that nobody knows about that affect how they act during the day. I know I have lots of things that go on in my life that affect how I act during the day. So when I have a kid that's in trouble, I don't lay on to them anymore. They already know they're in trouble. You come serve your detention. I'm going to high-five you in the hallway every time I see you. It's not going to change my opinion of who you are as a person. Everybody struggles at some point. So I try to be as least judgmental as possible because I was that same kid. I've tried to explain my job to people before, and like my best way to say it is you got to roll with the punches. Everything changes all day long. Like we just started doing tardy reports. So I just started that last week, and I had 26 kids in detention last Tuesday. So I'm really curious today. Today's Monday, so I'm really curious today to run my tardy report and see what a difference that made, losing 1 lunch and not seeing 20 kids in the hallway after the bells rang. Right. So like I've probably said 20 different things that I do during a day. My day is never planned out. I do a lot of computer work and paperwork. We do a lot of tracking. Even small incidents we try to keep track of just in case they turn into bigger things, and we can go back and look and see how things started and how they got to where they were. I pretty much did all the discipline with the last principal. Julie's much more hands-on, and she's usually the one who will contact parents, and then I deal with the student and the paperwork. The way it was before Julie came was I contacted the parents and I did the paperwork and I dealt with the students. So it's freed me up actually quite a bit to do a lot of other things in the school that I wasn't able to do before. At any point from the time you walk in during the day to the end of the day, if you're feeling you need a break, if you're feeling weighed down on, you just raise your hand, ask your teacher, may I go to the Zen room? We give a student usually 15 minutes to come in, sit and relax, get their thoughts back in a positive manner, and then they go back to class. If they're having something that's much more stressful than 15 minutes can do, I'll usually suggest that we go down and speak with the counselor after we've spent our 15 minutes in here. And some kids want to come in and talk, other kids want to come in, just put their head down for 15 minutes and not talk or think or do anything. So it really depends on who you are as a student and how you're feeling that day about what it would look like when you came in here. But most times I'll have a 15-minute conversation with a student and then they're usually ready to go back to class. This is our second year with it. It was thought of during the COVID years, and they started putting it together, and then we really started using it last year. And it's been a really good thing. We have some students that deal with a lot more than we ever expect at home, and when they get here, they're not prepared for their day, their mind's not in the right place, and they just need somewhere to sit and relax for a little while. Last year, I may have had 3, 4, 5 students in here at a time. This year, it's been kind of a rarity to have more than one student come in. I think we started it at exactly the right time for students that really needed it. And that was a really tough group because, you know, they kind of went from being 4th graders to being 8th graders with no in between, and it was a big jump for them. Working with kids, I just love kids. Kids are honest. Kids will tell you exactly what they think of you. If they don't like me, I know it. If they like me, I know it, you know. But getting to, like, I was a buyer for a major company here in town, and it was a very stressful job. I spent $100,000 a year on credit cards I had to have down to the penny at the end of each month, and it was a very stressful position to do. And not that we don't have stress here, you definitely do. But there's something about middle school kids that kind of take the stress away at the same time. You know, everything's still, you know, big and wild out in the world, and they're just happy to see it. And I love seeing that side of things. And like I said, I've always been kind of a big kid. I enjoy sports. I enjoy playing. I'm very competitive, and so I'm a big kid. My wife, I've been married 35 years, and my wife still tells me I'm just a big kid. I think, especially in my position, is always trying to be positive. If I come in a bad mood and was grumpy with kids, it's not going to help their day. I mean, so I think coming in, being a positive person, being somebody who's happy to be up in the morning and happy to be at work. Kids aren't always happy to be here at 8 a.m. But if you put a smile on your face and you sit down and you talk to them, usually they're smiling within a minute or two too. So I think just staying positive and trying to be a good example to these kids in front of their eyes is really important, especially nowadays. I love playing sports. I've had 2 back surgeries, and I've lost all the feeling in my right leg from my knee to my ankle. So I can't run and play basketball like I used to. Basketball was my thing. But I have 2 friends that I've had since middle school. We get together at least once a week and play video games. We're very competitive with one another. And I'm really into golf. I'm hoping within a year to be living on a golf course. My wife's finally sort of agreed to it, so I'm hoping within a year I'll be on a golf course. I try to play once to twice a week, and if you'd asked me a year ago if I was any good, I'd say no, I'm horrible. I'm okay now. I'm not great, I'm not good, but I'm getting better, and I love the sport. He thought that I was asked several times to come and work at the middle school, and I said no. I love the elementary school age. I mean, those kids are always happy to see you. Middle school, I was really afraid they'd be too snarky for me and I wouldn't be able to put up with the mouthy stuff. But what I found is I love this age. I get along with this group really well. I can connect with them. It is the perfect age. I wouldn't want to go, I mean, not that I wouldn't want to work at the elementary school. It's a great place to work, but something about this age group really fits me. No, I love this age group. They're not so old. They're not grown up enough to where they think they know everything and don't want to listen to you. And they're not so young that you can't hold a conversation with them. You know, they're right there where you can just really enjoy it. Red-haired, freckle-faced kid growing up, and I will admit I had a temper, and I didn't like being picked on about my red hair. So that's usually why I was in trouble a lot. I really wasn't a good student as a kid. I look back, and there's some teachers I should go apologize to at this point. But I love the experience of school, and that's what I do love here is the kids that I connect with were a lot like me when I was young, and I can kind of encourage them to go in a direction that's going to help them, you know. And I really did struggle in school. I didn't learn how to read till I was in 5th grade. So I was behind everybody, and it took a lot for me to catch up. And now I read 4 or 5 books a week when I don't even think I read my first book until after I graduated high school. So working in a school has really changed, I think, who I am too, because I've done a lot of mill jobs and things like that, and I worked for Marathon Coach for years, and so I've always been in production, and this is just so different. You know, you go into work in a mill or in a production facility, and it's put your head down, work hard for 8 hours, and walk out the door and go home. And here you interact all day long, and it's a big difference.